Welcome inside Bell MTS Place as we set up another tilt between the Calgary Flames and the Winnipeg Jets on the JetsTV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser. I'm Mitchell Clinton. Now, if that greeting sounded a little bit familiar, I swear this is a brand new episode. As much as a lot of things are still the same, this is a brand new pregame show. The Winnipeg Jets, of course, lost in a shootout to the Calgary Flames last night by a score of 4-3. Still earned a point in the standings, which is definitely important over a condensed season, but of course, they'll be looking to try to take 2 points from the Flames tonight. Now, we got a lot on the show tonight, and I said it's a brand new show. We even got brand new guests, so it's not even close to the same thing. We're trying to change the luck of the team through the pregame show. I think it works. It works in my head anyways. We have Jamie Thomas from 680 CJOB. You know him and his analysis. He'll be along to dive into some of the storylines that the Jets are facing coming into tonight. And Brendan Parker of Flames TV will also join in to chat a little bit about the Flames and kind of what to expect from them coming into tonight. So let's dive right into the matchup. Into the matchup board we go. Jets 5-3-1 so far this season. Played one more game than the Calgary Flames. They're 4-3-1. Now you look at the shot attempt percentage. It looks pretty close, but that wasn't the case last night. Calgary held a 58-42% advantage there and a 17-4 advantage in high danger chances at 5-on-5. Look for the Jets to try to shore that up this evening. We'll talk a little bit about the Jets penalty kill, which continues to creep up a little bit more when Jamie Thomas joins the show in just a couple of minutes. Over to the projected lines. The one thing that we have to say about the projected lines is we don't know for sure on these. The only reason that is because Paul Maurice said this morning that he still had to check on the health of some of his guys, so there might be some change to some of the skaters. We'll keep an eye on warm-up, and then, of course, keep an eye on the team's social media channels where we'll be able to get that information out to you after the pregame show ends. The one thing we do know, though, is Laurent Brossoit will get the start in goal for the Winnipeg Jets, consistent with the fact that they've been able to split the 3 sets of back-to-backs that they've faced so far this season. Laurent Brossoit is 2-1 against the Flames so far in his career with a 3.57 goals against average. Now, I promised we would dive deeper into the Jets penalty kill, among other things, with Jamie Thomas. Let's bring him in now. Jamie Thomas joins us from up in the broadcast booth. He has his binder open full of all the hot takes he's about to drop on the JetsTV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser.
Just let me look here for a second.
Yeah, find the takes.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, I got one. Go.
There's the list.
Yeah. This is what Paul told me to say.
The first on your list of hot takes, the Jets did it again. They score late last night. They get a point. Obviously, they would have preferred 2, but it just kind of shows that no matter what point of the hockey game, the Jets aren't out of it.
Yeah, especially the first time last night here at Bell MTS Place, they actually had the lead after 40 minutes, so it wasn't that starting to look like they had to play the role of comeback kids. They put themselves in that situation. I think a lot what Calgary did in that third period, the response the Jets came afterwards after giving up the lead to go behind 3-2 was very impressive. And then for them to tie with the game with 1:50 left on a shot from the point deflected by Mark Scheifele, just incredible play. Good read from Paul Maurice, recognizing the fact that the Flames were tired because they had been called for icing. So he pulls the goaltender, puts the 6th attacker out there, worked to perfection. So no matter how the ups and downs of the season goes, whatever happens the third period, the Jets are never out of it, and it's made for some very entertaining hockey this year.
And Blake Wheeler had his second 3-assist night of the season last night, and also hit a bit of a milestone tonight.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him?
Yeah, I think it's been up and down for Blake Wheeler, right? And I think that ties in with a lot with the top line. So, but when he's on his game, he's at his best. And tonight he's playing game number 720 in a Winnipeg Jets / Atlanta Thrasher uniform. That puts him into second place on the all-time list. Brian Little, of course, leading the way in that department. Passes a good friend of ours, Toby Enstrom, who was in second place as of yesterday, but that will change tonight. But so congratulations to Blake for another milestone for him. But all that conversation went about splitting up the top 2 lines, and then Wheeler, Scheifele, and Connor go to work on the power play and score twice in the first period, and then Wheeler has a secondary assist on the tying goal in the third period. Just was at his playmaking best in that game last night, and it just continues. Every time you think there's somewhere else he can't go, he takes it to that level, and he's just one of the best playmakers in the world, and Paul Maurice has pointed it out time after time, and for good reason.
It's a tough start to the season for the Jets penalty kill. They gave up at least one in the first 3 games, but they seem to have steadied the ship over the last little bit.
Yeah, and like last night, Calgary comes in with one of the hottest power plays in the National Hockey League. They have a power play goal in every single game coming into last night, and the Jets shut the door. So 5 of the last 6 games, I believe they've been very good with the man advantage. It's whoever Paul Maurice rolls over top. He doesn't have to lean on Scheifele and Wheeler anymore. Now he's got Lewis, he's got Appleton. Appleton's taken a big step in terms of his maturity and the responsibilities that he can take on. And then he's got the old reliables in Andrew Kopp and Adam Lowry. They've been great. The penalty killers in the back, Forbert, Pionk, Morrissey. It goes down the list of everybody he's put out there. And, of course, your best penalty killer has to be your goaltender, and Hellebuck was that last night as well. So we've seen good signs. I know the numbers don't look like that. They're pretty low still in the standings in terms of their penalty kill, but we're seeing signs of life in a very important part of their game as they try to stay in that top 4 in the North Division. I won't say the sponsor this time. It's just such a mouthful.
As advertised, the hot takes from Jamie Thomas on the Jets TV Live pregame show from the binder.
Get a binder.
I will, actually. I mean, it'll complete my look on the desk here, I think.
Right. It'll match the decor.
Exactly. Jamie, thanks for this.
No problem, man.
I actually don't know if Daniel Moss will allow me to have a binder on here. He cleaned the desk. It's very shiny today, so he limiting what I put on here. We thank Jamie for his time and his analysis, of course, on his number of visits on the Jets TV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser. February is a big month in schools, as it's I Love to Read month. The Winnipeg Jets want to be a part of it, and here's how. Calling all Jets fans who are students and teachers, celebrate I Love to Read month by entering this year's Reading Takes Flight contest. You could have a Winnipeg Jets player reading virtually to your classroom. Make sure to be creative with your submission. Enter before the February 28th deadline at winnipegjets.com/readingtakesflight. That's winnipegjets.com/readingtakesflight. So after the emotion involved in the past week for the Flames, they had a 3-game losing streak, a players-only meeting. They come out, they shut out Montreal, and then they outlast the Jets in a bit of a roller coaster. Now they're staring down the opportunity tonight where if they get another win, they got 3 consecutive victories. I spoke to Brendan Parker of Flames TV about that. Pleased to be joined by Brendan Parker making his Jets TV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser debut. Brendan, how are you, first off?
Good, doing well. How are you, Mitch?
Fantastic, especially on the back half of a back-to-back. Still feeling pretty good. But Brendan, take us inside the Flames here. They're down 2-0 to the Jets last night, then up 3-2, give up the tying goal, win in a shootout, a real back and forth affair. What's kind of the mindset of the group heading into the rematch tonight?
Yeah, it's a great question because it's kind of been a theme at a couple of different points of this early season for the Calgary Flames, falling behind early. And, I think a couple guys pointed it out. It wasn't for, bad play necessarily. I mean, at least 5-on-5. I know Jeff Ward wasn't particularly pleased with the start, but, with 5-on-5 play, you're talking about, pretty evenly played first period, and yet you leave there trailing 2-0, which has happened a couple times this year, giving up power play goals, and then you're chasing the game right away. But I think, from that point on, they have to be real pleased with the way they played the final 40 minutes, particularly the third period. I thought they, carried a bulk of the play, a lot of the good chances. Once they got that tying goal, it was kind of an onslaught of opportunities that they had to take the lead, and eventually did on that Andrew Mangiapane goal. So I think for them, the focus is kind of just building on what they put in place in the third period. And I don't know about for you. I mean, obviously you're in the building, I'm watching from home, but just a highly entertaining hockey game, especially in that overtime frame.
Yeah, it really was. Really back and forth. Just pretty much like the entire game was. That overtime was just chance after chance. Juuso Välimäki picks up his second assist of the season on Monday. And while he's only played 32 career games and obviously had injuries and a whole host of situations leading into this year, he and Johnny Gaudreau on that goal that they hook up for look like guys that have been playing together for 20 years. What have you kind of seen from Välimäki so far?
Yeah, he's a great story, and you mentioned it. I mean, it would have been close to 20 months since he'd played a National Hockey League game until this year, and obviously had some time over in his native Finland, played 19 games there. So, you're talking about a guy that hasn't played a ton of hockey over the last 2 years, and is still trying to find his legs. But I think what you're seeing now is that he's finding it. He had a couple of unlucky games. Unfortunate for him, a young guy that's going to go through those things. Or I think it was, the first Montreal game and, maybe parts of a little bit of the Leaf series that he talked about some unlucky breaks. But the last 2 games in particular, has really started to come on. And the one thing about this kid is young defenseman, but he's been through about as much as you can in terms of adversity for a young defenseman in his NHL career. So it doesn't seem like anything that's going to phase him. Hard on himself, but man, is he talented. And I think we got a real display of that on that pass. His vision, his poise with the puck. And that's the one thing that always is going to jump out about you or jump out at you with him, is that he is very confident when the puck's on his stick. And the more and more he plays, which is what we're starting to see, you're starting to see that confidence in the offensive zone. It's like one of those things, you focus on the D zone, you take care of that end, but now we're starting to see it in the offensive zone. And that was a perfect example.
Last one for you. I was looking at the Flames schedule, and this is the Jets' third set of back-to-backs, but I believe this is Calgary's first. They're looking for their third straight win. So what's kind of changed in the group since that big win over Montreal?
Yeah, I think, for the most part, they talked about puck bounces a couple of times. And, I think that's turned a little bit. The perfect indication would be that Chris Tanev goal to start the second period. But I think, overall, they've played some really good hockey.
It's awesome.
Okay.
Your debut, his debut. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Anyway, he's just like the deer over the shoulder. Listen, I think, for the most part, you're talking about, a team that's kind of found their legs after a couple of rough outings. They had that 5-day break, and they were rolling going into it, and coming out of it, I think they benefited from the practice time, but you're talking more about the fact that they've kind of settled back into the rhythm of the schedule, which it's hard not to when you're playing as much as they're playing. It's 15 games kind of over the course of this month. So it's a lot of hockey. But I think they're kind of finding that rhythm again, and that's kind of the difference you're seeing right now.
Brendan Parker, thanks very much for this, and we look forward to the rematch. Big shout out to Brendan Parker, and of course the little visitor that came by. Anybody that works from home can relate to that situation. It was awesome. Great to get Brendan's takes on the game coming up tonight. Now, Nikolai Ehlers had the quote of the day earlier today, in my opinion anyways. He said Monday's game was 50-50 and the Jets want to play in a way to get the odds closer to 100-0 in their favor. We can't guarantee those odds for the 50-50, but you can buy tickets anyway and support a good cause at the same time. Now's the time to buy your tickets for the Winnipeg Jets 50-50 presented by PlayNow.com. Buy yours online before the end of the third period of today's game to be included in the draw. The winner will take home half of the jackpot, with all proceeds in support of the True North Youth Foundation. Buy your 50-50 tickets now at winnipegjets.com/5050. That's winnipegjets.com/5050. And Jets fans, this week's Save of the Game all in-stock toques are 30% off. Choose from a huge selection of styles available at any of our 3 Jets Gear Mall stores and online at True North Shop. That's 30% off all in-stock toques. Jets Gear, shop where the players shop. And finally, episode 92 of the Ground Control Podcast has a great chat with Harn Ryan Singh of Sportsnet. He chats about his love of hockey, reaching a career milestone to start the season, and so much more. So get that podcast wherever you get your podcasts. That wraps up the Jets TV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser. Big thank you to Brendan Parker and Jamie Thomas, of course, for joining us. Daniel Moss behind the controls, Caleb Snyder and John Delaney for making sure that you can all see us out there on the internets. We'll see you tonight after the game for the Jets TV Live postgame show presented by Budweiser. I'm Mitchell Clinton. We'll see you later.